Jonathan wasn't used to stopping. He was a man who always moved forward, overcoming any obstacles in his path. But this time, something went wrong. His hiking trip in the forest near the small town of Garnet, Maine, had turned into a horrifying nightmare. It was already evening when Jonathan realized he was lost. The compass that had always been a reliable friend seemed to have gone mad, and every step led him deeper into the darkness. The impenetrable forest surrounded him on all sides, and every sound, every rustle of leaves, filled him with anxiety. Darkness quickly engulfed the forest, and with it, Jonathan's hope of finding his way home. He walked for hours, trying to find any path or sign of civilization, but it was all in vain. His steps became heavier, and his legs grew weaker. Suddenly, through the twilight, he saw a faint light. His heart fluttered with hope. It could be anything: a campfire from other hikers, a farm, or, at best, a ranger's cabin. Jonathan quickly headed toward the light. A few minutes later, he found himself in front of an old, abandoned cabin. Its windows were darkened, and the door creaked in the wind. The light he saw came from a small lantern on the porch. Jonathan cautiously approached the door and knocked. No answer. He knocked again, a bit harder. Silence. Opening the door, Jonathan stepped inside. The cabin looked abandoned. Old furniture was covered in dust, and the air smelled of dampness and decay. The fire in the fireplace had long since gone out, leaving only cold ashes. Tired and cold, Jonathan decided to stay here for the night. He found an old blanket and settled on the sofa. But sleep would not come. Portraits of unfamiliar people hung on the walls, and it seemed they were staring at him menacingly. Their eyes, though painted, appeared alive and followed his every move. Jonathan tried to sleep, but every time he closed his eyes, he felt their gazes upon him. Finally, exhausted, he fell into a deep sleep. The morning sun streamed through the windows, waking Jonathan with its bright light. He slowly got up and looked around. The portraits on the walls were gone. They were windows, shuttered with wooden blinds that were now open. Jonathan felt both relief and astonishment. He realized that his imagination had played a cruel joke on him, but he was glad it was just an illusion. He quickly gathered his things and left the cabin, determined to find his way home. The forest, which had seemed hostile to him yesterday, now appeared less frightening. Jonathan felt that everything would be fine. And although he knew he would never forget that night, he was grateful to have emerged from the horror alive. He began to move forward again, leaving the cabin behind but feeling its gaze upon him. This experience would stay with him forever as a reminder that even the darkest corners of our minds can create the most terrifying nightmares.